Welcome to Groups 4 Podcast. Today we dive into the insightful world of self-help with a focus on Chapter 13 of the Career Manifesto, Discover Your Calling by Mike Steib. This chapter, titled Don't Worry, Be Happy, explores the practical strategies for maintaining a positive mindset in your career journey. I'm Dean Tapia, and joining me today is the rest of Group 4, as we unravel the key takeaways, share our thoughts, and delve into personal experiences related to the valuable advice provided by Mike Steib. So, grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's embark on this journey towards a more positive and fulfilling career. Without further ado, let's get started.
Thank you very much, Dean. I'm Joseph Hernandez, and what I would really like to learn from the group is what did you guys think of the chapter, and what do you think your main takeaways were?
I think that the takeaways as a whole for the books were mostly like how to think about being in school looking for a job, and there's somehow it's like it seems pretty like at first like basic knowledge, but then you go through the semesters, especially the hard ones like I'm in with QMB and the realness of going back and trying to look for a job, and you start to see that the books kind of like just back you up into thinking back to where you should be thinking. Like it is helpful to remind you of those little basic things. Going back to basics, it's a good thing. And chapter 13 of Career Manifesto, you get a sense that I really did need these books and all these topics and all these things, and be a congruent sort of like help, a safe net to fall into. And we're gonna discuss them thoroughly here. So yeah, that's what I got.
Great, thank you, Giovanni. If we could hear from Treasure now.
Hi, my name is Treasure. From this book, I speak it to school. In school, we learn a lot in regarding to business and how, to get into the workforce, but I don't think we're really taught, how to handle stress and how to think more positive in work environments. And I think this chapter specifically was really catered towards that, helping you give you different tricks and tips on how to really help manage your stress when you're going through your day-to-day life at your stressful job.
Great, thank you. Melanie, what do you feel about the book? Or the chapter, rather?
So this chapter I honestly really loved. It was probably my favorite chapter of the entire book, just because I personally really enjoy reading about psychology, especially positive psychology. And I haven't really seen that be acknowledged within the business area. And I think it's fantastic that they mentioned all of this. So my favorite part of the book, really, like this chapter, was when we were talking about, let me find it. So when they were talking about how sleep deprivation, how to rewire the positive psychology, I really loved that they mentioned sleep being the most important thing, and how exercise and smiling, that one was amazing. How just smiling can make your entire outlook on life just be so much more positive and optimistic. And expressing gratitude, all of these things are so necessary in your day-to-day life, not only in your career, but I think that people don't necessarily apply it to your career. How do I say this? They don't really think to do this when it comes to the career. They'll do it for themselves and for their day-to-day life, but for their career, not really. So I think that it's really important for people to hear this, and I really love this chapter.
Mhm.
Great, thank you. So myself, I really agree with Treasure and Melanie in that though FIU does have a happiness in the workplace class, this should really be an important part of the business degrees, uh, the classes that are important for the business degree. There should be a mandatory class. These skills make huge differences in people's lives. Again, as we said, this chapter covers practical skills that can be used to better your mindset and better make you feel more fulfilled with your career and your life overall. So I think that the topics covered in this chapter are very important, and I'm very happy that we decided to read this book.
No,
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, like completely agree. Some of the main 2 points that I took away from it was managing stress and having a optimistic mindset, and I feel like they kind of go hand in hand. For example, the book talked about a health psychologist by the name of Kelly McGonigal,
Hmm.
and basically, she talked about that if you view stress as something that's just holding you back and something that's killing you, then it really is going to have that effect on you, and you're just going to keep yourself from achieving. But if you view stress as like an opportunity to grow and a positive force that makes you focused on your goals, then you're not going to only be more resilient, but you're just going to have an overall much better well being. And I think that kind of goes hand in hand. With what psychologist Martin Segelman said, um, where basically he talked almost about the same thing, that if you just have minor setbacks and you just let them and you just view them as setbacks instead of opportunities for growth, then you're just going to be keeping yourself from achieving your goals at the end of the day.
Right. I thought that was a very important lesson in the book. And I think it's one that we could all relate to real life, especially in physical activity. I think we see that when we feel a little bit stressed, it helps us push a little bit further in the gym or in the sport we're competing in.
No, for
Um,
sure.
and those barriers are just what it takes to make you a better performer, particularly in sports and in other areas in your life. But I think that the fact that it's applicable to sports really helps us see how it affects us in real life.
I
I
totally agree. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. I was gonna say, especially with working out. I know me personally, when I work out, it's like all of a sudden I start feeling happy, like those like happy endorphins, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Mhm.
I don't know how to explain it. Even like just going for a walk and just calm your mind down for a little bit. I definitely think giving us those factors to go off of and to use even when we're at work is a really good points that he made in the book.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually wanted to add on, it doesn't even have to be sports or exercise. You could just, like you said, go out for a walk, or you could even go to a party or spend time with your friends, just out and about, or even dancing. I think I heard that dancing is like the best way to cure depression instead of therapy or anything like that. So definitely dancing or just exercise as a whole, very, very good for the brain.
The book goes over some stuff that you're gonna run into as like as you're looking for your career and how are you gonna see management, how are you gonna see yourself as a boss and or see your boss as how are you gonna work with them, how are you gonna organize yourself for that next move, which is not just feeling good about college, but your career, right? The book is called Career Manifesto. So with that, like what other chapters did you like? What other chapters did you guys find interesting?
Well, if I may interrupt, just to go back really quick to what Treasure was saying, about working out, I would say like at least with me, like the more stress you put on during the workout is like the happier you feel, and that could also be applied to like the business world because if you're just setting minor goals that you know you're going to achieve, you're not really going to get the most satisfaction out of it. So if you're setting goals that you know are going to challenge you and then you achieve it, I feel like that's when you get the most satisfaction at the end of the day.
Definitely agree for sure.
And I wanted to add on to what Gio was saying. I think he makes a really good point in that the book helps us prepare for our careers and the business world, particularly in the story about the employee with a deadline and the model that it showed us with the lighter circle going to a light circle and a dark circle, and then you restart with each consequence or the consequence of your action. I think it really shows us that things are not as bad as our mind might make us think. And
Mhm.
that's something that I think I struggle with, where I'll spiral and I'll think, oh, if I get this wrong, then all these other things are going to go wrong, and I'm going to end up in this horrible place. And the book highlights that the chances of us ending up in that place that our mind convinces we're going to are minuscule, and that we're really only forcing ourselves to suffer twice. The book reminds us that Gandhi warned us against doing this, that there's no point in doing this. And I thought that was a really cool lesson for me.
What did you guys think about like the author's writing and how he written the book? When you like read it, it's like he's almost like talking to you in a sense. Do you guys agree with that or?
I totally agree. I do remember that when I was reading it, he had mentioned that this is his first ever book. And I think that the charm to the fact that this is his first ever book is that he's just writing in a diary or kind of trying to talk to an audience, but he's just putting it into words into a book. But I really like how it felt almost personal that
Mhm.
he was like talking to you, or rather, that he wasn't talking to just a random audience. He had you in mind. The type of people that are meant to read this book are us, college students who are about to go into um the industry, the work industry, or even people who are just lost and don't know what to do, or honestly, anyone who works would definitely be able to take a really good lesson away from this. So I really like how he was just talking as if he was talking to an audience rather than just an imaginary point blank that not every book talks to the audience themselves. It was really touching in a way. That's what I think.
Mhm. Like a mentor almost.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm. What about you?
Uh, I'm sorry. Just to interrupt. Back to what Melanie was saying. Like, yeah, I really enjoyed reading because it just felt very easy to read, and it felt like he actually had experience and he knew what he was talking about. And I feel like there's a lot of other books that you might read where it kind of just feels like they're just regurgitating basic points that like everybody kind of knows, but I feel like he really like dove into it and really like was talking to you as an individual as opposed to just writing a book, you know?
I totally agree with that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
want to say that he's really trying to make you see his points. He used a lot of diagrams in his book, like to help you try to achieve the most productivity and yeah, how to like feel about your feelings and your purpose, your presence, your plan, and people. And he's not just trying to bore you with words. And I don't know again if it's because his first book, like someone said, or everyone's agreeing, but he's really trying to like keep you engaged. Like, wow, what this is about purpose, and this one's about creativity, and this is about collaboration, and this one's about this thing that I actually do struggle when it comes to like how I think about my career in the future or even now. Or and so it engages you back to with the drawings, and then you read it and it's interesting and it's useful, and then you scan a bit more and you run into another diagram that goes over something really really good, and yeah, you just go back to reading each chapter and each paragraph next to the diagram and just really making sure that you get to where you want to be as soon as possible by reading his book and get all the things unlocked for your career.
I agree. The author really has a great way to explain his message. I feel like most self-help books read like math books where they try to explain these abstract sociological and anthropological ideas stating facts, and it makes it very hard to grasp, whereas this author makes it very relatable, and he uses examples that we've all faced in our lives.
Yeah, I think that this book was really beautiful and very, very good for all of us to read, right?
I agree.
I totally agree.
I
Do you guys
completely.
feel like there were any skills, or what was it that he called them?
The positive habits.
Yes, any habits that you guys were already performing prior to reading the book?
I definitely already smile all the time and it makes me happier in turn.
Hmm. Do you do so intentionally?
Yes, for sure. But it's very nice to see that it's been acknowledged by other people and it's not just something that I'm doing on my own.
Uh,
That's it. So had you read about that, or had you just come up to doing that on your own?
I think I just noticed the change myself and maybe I ended up implementing it myself, but I think I might have read it somewhere.
Yeah,
No,
I'm trying to work better at actually writing things down. I've seen successful people do it, and I've always thought it was funny and unnecessary. But again, keep running into people actually writing things down into what he mentions, the happiness matrix. I don't know if I'm gonna call it the happiness matrix, but I'm definitely gonna try to definitely keep that in mind more often and follow up with those practices.
no, yeah, and for me, I think the biggest takeaway regarding like this like the part of the chapter where it talks about positive habits, I think is just expressing gratitude. and just like finding joy in the little things as opposed to like letting one bad moment like just ruin your day. Like, look around and be like, well, I have this, I have this, I have this, as opposed to just being like, oh, everything's terrible. Like, and just, just finding more joy in the little things, I think was the biggest takeaway in the habits part for me.
For sure, definitely. And also, I enjoyed, you talked about just doing random acts of kindness. I know personally when I try to do nice things for other people, I definitely enjoy it, and it makes me a little happier throughout my day. So I definitely took that away from there.
And Dean, so what do you think in total, like what do you think you can really take away from all this, and like how it can really like change like your future views?
What I'm taking away from this is that our mindset is intentional. It's not something that happens to us. It's something that we do unto our surroundings and what we perceive, and that the way that we think about our surroundings significantly affect our perception of those surroundings and in turn our happiness. And I thought it was really a message of hope and a very positive message that we have these tools at our disposal that we can use to actively adjust the way we perceive our surroundings.
Mhm.
So it really is a huge benefit that I've taken from this book.
No, for sure. Like this is unrelated to the book, but it's a good quote I heard is I think it's how does it go? Happiness isn't something you find, it's something you create. And I feel like this book kind of goes hand in hand with that a lot because it really talks about like instead of just letting like the little things bother you a lot, like like your stress and the things that are like maybe ruining your day, like try to see like the positive in that, like try to use that as like fuel to like achieve your goals and like grow as a person overall.
Yeah, I agree. That's all we really have time for today. So the book we covered was The Career Manifesto, Discover Your Calling. We did do chapter 13, Don't Worry, Be Happy, pages 229 through 247. And thank you for listening.
Yes, I just want to wrap up our conversation today with a little outro I've written. So as we conclude today's episode of Group 4's podcast, we trust that insights shared from Chapter 13 of the Career Manifesto have sparked some valuable reflections for you. Your journey towards a more fulfilling career is an ongoing exploration, and we hope that the wisdom discussed today serves as a guide. We appreciate your time and attention. Until next time, continue striving for your best self. This is Dean Tapia in Group 4 bidding you farewell. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.